Hello, I'm Eric Sonheimer of the Los Angeles Times, and I'm here with Coach Steve Miller, and we're going to be talking high school sports here. And the big reason you're here, Coach Miller, is because you supposedly know everything and everybody.
I do. I know everything about everybody. Just ask me anything.
Yeah, well, we'll be asking you about that. But we want to discuss some trends happening in high school sports, also some of the scores that are going to happen this coming week, and predictions. But first of all, I want to talk about the opening week of high school football. There were just too many penalties called. It was amazing. I went to 2 games, over 400 yards in penalties, just so many flags. I looked up when is Flag Day. It's in June, but it looked like Flag Day already there, and particularly holding penalties. What is the reason for so many penalties the opening week of the season?
Okay, I'm going to defend the referees as opposed to...
Of course, you're an ex-official.
I am. So my first reason is there are points of emphasis. I think this year the point of emphasis is call holding early in the season to get all the players trained for later in the season. Mm-hmm. So they're going to call them now. Secondly, none of these guys have done any blocking during the summer because passing league doesn't block. Mm-hmm. So now they're out of shape, they're not finely tuned, so there's going to be more holding.
I understand the holding, but there's a lot other penalties being called. False starts, I understand offsides. My concern is, why are these good coaches who have good teams and intelligent players unable to be disciplined enough to avoid penalties?
Well, I'm not saying all of these calls are good calls. Good coaches.
Oh, you actually mean that officials can make a bad call?
Well, maybe one, but not many. I think officials in most time do a great job. Okay, first game jitters. They're not tuned machines.
I hope it's a first game jitter, but in my opinion, the officials should be invisible on the field. When we're noticing them, that's when things are not going well.
I totally agree.
Okay, thank you. Let's end this thing with you agreeing with me. We need to make sure that happens.
I see that happens with everything. Okay.
Anyway, let's talk about some of the big games this week. Obviously, I think the biggest game is Mater Dei taking on Bishop Gorman at Santa Ana Stadium on Friday. You have a USC versus UCLA development here. Bishop Gorman's quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, is headed to UCLA. He's a senior right now. And for Mater Dei, JT Daniels is a junior who's committed to USC. I think you're going to see so many USC and UCLA fans out there. And since you've been used to this experience, you went to UCLA, what is it like when you have fans rooting for their particular player at the high school level?
Nothing better, because you get family, you get relatives, you get school. The spirit is tremendous. Now, I'm going to take Bishop Gorman. I'm going to take the quarterback there. He's very experienced. They have a senior-dominated team. They're playing a quarterback that's a junior. I think Bishop Gorman has more overall speed, and I'm going to pick him in a great game.
Well, I'm glad you're picking him because you're wrong. I'm taking Mater Dei. They're underrated as far as defense. Defensively, yes, they lost all their secondary, but I saw in the summer those defensive backs were getting a lot better. I think they're working on improving the running game, and JT Daniels will be ready for this game. But Bishop Gorman has a 55-game win streak, and Dorian is a very good quarterback. So, the other question is, will fans get along when the SC UCLA fans, they don't like each other, right?
They don't like each other, but they respect each other.
They do?
They do.
You respect USC fans?
Well, USC has become an academic school in the last few years, which has taken them up a notch in my mind, which that really helps.
Okay, I don't believe you, but that's
okay.
I'm glad what you're saying. Another good game is Narbonne taking on Long Beach Poly at El Camino College. Narbonne came away with a great victory last week. I thought they were going to lose. I picked them to lose to Sierra. They somehow pulled it out. Poly is coming off a win over Los Alamitos. Matt Corral did a great job in his opening game.
Looks great game. I'm going to pick Narbonne City School on a roll, tremendous tradition, and I just love their quarterback.
Yeah, I would give an edge a little bit to Narbonne. I was much impressed with their defense. Offensively, the passing game was pretty bad. I think they'll get better at that. Poly is a dangerous team. They have just as good receiver crew as Sarah did last week. And the fans, let's hope they're not fighting in the stands as they did that I saw throughout the fourth quarter. I mean, how do you prevent fans from fighting during a game? Shouldn't the security have stopped that?
You got to have security everywhere in a big game. Big crowds, big security. You got to prevent this stuff. It ruins the game.
I know, and I saw better punches than the big fight between Mayweather and McGregor.
Well, there were a lot of punches in the football game, and that fight was so overrated.
Yeah, and a good city game on Thursday. San Fernando is playing Taft. San Fernando got routed by Alamany last week. Taft pulled out a win on a field goal in the final seconds under their first-year coach, Matt Hawley. I think San Fernando's going to respond. I always like schools that play up and get better by playing tough opponents.
I agree with you. Tough opponents, and losing is better than beating somebody easy and winning. Plus, Taft won at the end of the game, and we've got Alamany and San Fernando. Alamany's a powerhouse. San Fernando is going to step up this week and win.
Right. You've coached for a long time. I want to talk about transfers. I mean, to me, I've been writing about this for year after year. You got criticized a little bit because back when you were coaching basketball, you had what they called the Zoo Magnet, and there were a lot of basketball players in the Zoo Magnet. How many vets did you produce in all those years when all your basketball players were in the Zoo Magnet?
Well, of course, all my basketball players that came in were interested in science. Okay, they didn't necessarily want to be a vet. But I did have one that became a full doctor, Eric Jackson.
But why were there so many basketball players in the Zoo Magnet?
Well, it was a great place to get out of the inner city and be protected and get a great education.
Okay, so it gets to the point of transfers. We have lots of people choosing schools, and now it doesn't even matter the reason they can choose. They can go for athletics, for basketball, for music. It doesn't matter. And school has started, and the transfers are still going on. Why are there so many transfers?
Okay, the penalty is not very big. You're out 30 days of your sport, so that's like 1/3 of your season. Therefore, if you've got a friend that goes, hey, come on and join me, we'll have a great team, I love the coach, maybe the person's going to go.
But let's take a look at basketball right now. Every top team is adding to their roster in the middle of school. Between Mater Dei getting transfers and Sierra Canyon and Taft, I mean, it's like the Major League Baseball. You're adding rosters in September so you can bring up anybody you want. These schools are adding players.
Well, I hate to say this, but some of the players are at schools that are not very good. They look at where their friend is. They look, hey, look, we need a guard over here. We need a 6'7" forward over here. It's almost like pros now, where a guy can fit in and play. And that's where they're jumping all over the place.
Yeah, so it's pretty amazing going on. Another great game that's coming up on Saturday is IMG Academy from Florida taking on Corona Centennial. That's going to be in San Diego. TJ Pledger, who played at Chaminade last year, is on IMG Academy. Personally, I don't like Southern California teams playing IMG Academy because it's only going to encourage other kids to leave the area for IMG. I think it's great. If they want to leave, let them go. The IMG is trying to prepare you to be a pro, but I don't see why high school teams in Southern California are playing these guys because it only helps them.
It does help the IMG recruiting because the kids in Southern California will go, oh my God, look at that powerhouse. I want to be part of that. Every one of those kids goes to college, so there is a tendency you could leave.
Right, and it's really an all-star team. They are an all-star, and they have players from many different states. So Centennial put up a great fight last year. I think they're going to have a much more difficult time this year, but the game is going to be fun because there's going to be a lot of scoring going on to that. So that's it for now. I know you're always busy doing various things, so I appreciate Coach Miller's opinions. They're always wrong for the most part, but this is a little thing we're going to try to keep doing every week or every couple weeks, depending on when Coach Miller has more opinions and he wants to fight me on things.
I always have an opinion.
Yes, we know that. So thank you. That's our end. And what are we calling this show?
We're calling this Sandy and the Coach.
Sandy and the Coach. See, he came up with that too. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.